Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I have Tyler here from Teriyaki Madness, and I'm so excited to talk about this brand. I told Tyler this is completely selfish on my part, but I really want Teriyaki Madness in Canada, and I really want people to learn about it because I think it's such a great business. I did also share with Tyler that I don't normally love food businesses because it is such a tough business to be in, but Teriyaki Madness has completely caught my attention because they have done so well over the last few years. So I'm so excited to have you here today, Tyler, to share a little bit more about Teriyaki Madness and tell everybody in Canada about it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, thank you very much for having us on. And, Canada is the next frontier for us. We got our foothold there, but a lot more opportunity to go, to put it lightly.
Definitely. So please tell us a little bit give us a quick short overview about Teriyaki Madness for those people that are not familiar with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So at the highest level, Teriyaki Madness, we're Japanese created, Seattle inspired, right? So we come from Seattle as kind of our home base of where everything came about. But we are that fast casual Asian. So if you look across the menu, we are not trying to be everything to everybody, but what we do, we do very, very well. So very strong focus on quality of ingredients, very strong focus on making sure that it is made to order. So we do sit in that made to order space. So it allows people to have highly customized food. You have certain dietary restrictions, you're avoiding carbs, or you have a gluten intolerance, for example, you can still very much eat at a Teriyaki Madness because nothing's really done until someone's made that transaction. So very much food focused, quality focused, and it's really a scalable concept. If you look at kind of how we operate out of very small strip center based locations that are between that 1,400 and maybe 2,000 square feet. So it keeps your overhead down. And the whole reason why we can operate out of such small sites, but still do the revenue that we do in our FDD, is purely because 70 to 80% of our transactions happen from outside the four walls. So think your catering, your third-party delivery, and then people that just do your pickup to go based orders, whether they order through the phone, app, whatever that might be. So we only typically see 30% of individuals any given day.
Wow, that's definitely a different type of model than most food businesses. So that's absolutely fantastic. And that's probably also a big part of why you've had such explosive growth over the last few years. So please tell us about how you've grown so quickly and tell us a little bit about your strategy there.
Yeah. So in terms of growth, we've been around since 2003. So we got started 2003, Las Vegas, turned into a franchise in 2005. And then really the bulk of all of our growth has come since Michael Haith, our current owner and CEO, bought the business outright from our founders. So founders were almost like that McDonald's story to a certain degree, right? Where they stood up the concept, all's right in the world. There just were maybe a few holes that we needed to plug from being a true franchise system. And that is where Michael comes from. So I would say Michael's the real catalyst to all the growth. He took over and bought out the founders after he sold his other two concepts about 5.5, almost 6 years ago now. And so he started off by going back to the basics. So flushing out systems, processes, and then secondly, just building up a very experienced VP and executive team that all come from large national brands. You got a couple people from Chipotle here, head of construction, built 500 Qdobas, then came over. Head of real estate, worked for Chili's, Longhorn Steakhouse, and then Focus Brands. We got your Wendy's people, Moe's Southwest Grill, Auntie Anne's Pretzels. You got Chick-fil-A, Boston Market, KFC. List goes on and on. But that's kind of the caliber of talent that he brought over. And I would say really the other reason why we're growing so quickly. So it's that right systems, right processes, right support that comes along with it. Where we have an extremely vested interest in these franchisees' success. So we don't care if you come from a restaurant background or not. Does not matter to us. We will teach you anything and everything there is to know about a Teriyaki Madness. And we are that confident in that kind of support piece that has really allowed us to tap into maybe some non-traditional types of franchisees, if you will, versus maybe some other food concepts out there. From our end, you don't have any food experience, I got to turn you into exactly what we want, right? So no bad habits are carrying over. But as we sit today, so like we started this year at 61 open. We have 76 open as we sit today. And we will conservatively hit somewhere between that 100 and 105 by the end of this year. And that's just a done deal already with active franchisees going through real estate construction or training.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And how smart of Michael to make sure he has a really strong team around him. Because like you said, if you have that strong team around you, they're the ones that are going to pass their experience and their knowledge onto that franchisee. So whether they've had that experience in the food industry or not is not really a factor. So that makes complete sense to me.
And I would say it's very similar to how franchisees, we would like them to operate long-term, right? Is you build up a very strong team of people that'll actually run the day-to-day of the shop, right? You'll operate on a trust but verify type relationship. But our owner's time is not best spent flipping chicken, right? It's building relationships with the local community, managing P&Ls, managing the labor pool. But hey, if you like flipping chicken, by all means, right? You'll know a guy. You can get in there, right? But that's, I would say, very similar in terms of how Michael set it up, is how franchise owners will historically go about their business.
No, that's fantastic. And the other thing that you kind of little bit touched on is the fact that you have worked with kind of the non-traditional potential franchisees, and you guys work with quite a bit of international clients, which I think is fantastic. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So we do work with a variety of people, variety of backgrounds. So corporate individuals, your landlords, what have you, but also we play around quite a bit in the visa space. So here in the US, we run your E2s, EB5 visas, L1s to a certain degree. Up in Canada, I know fairly similar structure. And we are very much open and willing and have the pieces in place to work with these folks. So they can kind of come to Canada, US, whatever that is, and run that shop with our support potentially. Depending on what's needed, right? So if they don't have a certain comfort level with running their own business, or maybe English isn't their first language, whatever that might be, and there's a comfort level factor there, we do have a program that we'll talk about a little bit later, where we will basically run the shop for them, and then they can take over when they feel like they are ready. So we'll definitely talk about that. But from a visa strategy standpoint, we can definitely work with anybody and everybody. We've done about 9 deals so far from a visa standpoint in the last basically year, 12 to 14 months.
That's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And I know that, I speak to international clients all the time that are looking to come into Canada or the US, and they're exploring businesses. They don't know where to go, and not a lot of franchises are very supportive about it. So it's great to see that, you guys are so forward thinking about it and, willing to help these people as much as possible. So that's fantastic.